Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to the Three Gun Show 2022 edition. I'm your host, Dave Hartman. This is episode 313. I hope you had a wonderful holiday season. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, all that other good stuff. A couple exciting things happened to me during the break, besides getting to spend time with friends and family that I want to tell you about here. We got some new inventory at the Three Gun Show Pro Shop, including a couple Vortex Razor 1-10s. Both of them are MRAD, and I believe one is sold, but that means there's one left. So if you're looking for a Razor 1-10, head over to 3gunshowproshop.com and find the link. Find the one that looks like the 1-10 and click on that bad boy right there, and it could be yours. Also, I released 2 new videos on the Three Gun Show YouTube channel, and I have a third coming on the Sunday after this podcast is released. If you're not subscribed to the Three Gun Show's YouTube channel, better fix that quick, because I have a whole list of videos to make here. In fact, the video dropping on Sunday is something requested by a Three Gun Show listener. In it, I detail my 2022 three-gun rifle from tip to butt, including the ADM receiver set, the JP guts, the Vortex optic, and the Dissident arm stock, and all the other good stuff in there, and you see how it all comes together. So you're not going to want to miss that. I'll put a link to everything I just talked about in the here in the show notes, 3gunshow.com/313. That's where you can find it all the time. So we're back at it with more new content here at the Three Gun Show podcast edition. This is 2022, like I said. Wow, time's going quick. Meaning that this is our 7th year of the podcast, which is exciting times. Woo! Thank you. Please. Because this is the start of a new year and a new three-gun season, I invited Kyle Litzie on to discuss goal setting. We covered that and much more. We talk about, the process goals, outcome goals, SMART goals, things like that. And it's been over a year since I had Kyle on the podcast, so he's been killing it in carbine matches, and we just had to get the rundown of the West Coast shooting scene, including the Practical Shooting League, all the carbine matches Kyle's been shooting, things like that. Plus, we do cover goals. We cover them in depth, and we cover Kyle's plans for the 2022 season as well, and he gives us a lot of great training tips, which is really cool. And finally, Kyle started a new company. He and his partner, Zach Smith, created Unrivaled Technologies. So Kyle tells us all about that. And again, there is links to all this in the show notes, 3gunshow.com/313. You'll find Unrivaled Technologies there. You'll find all of Kyle's social media handles, things like that, as well as the Pro Shop link. Now enjoy this podcast with Kyle Litzie. Kyle, welcome back to the show.
Hey, Dave. Good to be back on, man.
Well, it's great to catch up with you, man. It's been a long time. I looked at Skype, and it looks like we do this once a year now.
Yeah, was it last year? Was it 2020 or 2019?
It was December of 2019, and we've been trying to schedule this for a couple weeks now. So maybe it's just that time of the year when I get Thanksgiving around, I get thankful, and I'm thinking like, God, what's Litzie up to?
Nice. I'm glad to be the holiday guest.
Well, this time's kind of cool. You get to be the first guest of 2022. So happy New Year to you, man.
Go. Happy New Year. I think I forgot to say that before we even started the podcast.
Oh yeah, I was saving it for the show.
Nice.
At least that's what I'll tell you. But so what have you been up to, man? Like, you had a big 2021 here in the shooting sports. You seem like you did a lot of carbine competitions.
Yeah, I did. I think 2021, I definitely shot less three-gun than I have in the past, but I shot pretty much equal amount of matches, more AK matches, two-gun matches for the first time with a practical two-gun. And yeah, it was a little bit different, but I really liked it. And honestly, with I don't know how it is in the rest of the country. I think it's kind of rough everywhere, but shotgun ammo's been been like one of the biggest issues for me. Long range rifle and shotgun ammo. So the 2-gun matches really are perfect for that.
Yeah, that's pretty much exactly what we've been experiencing out here. Forrest and I scrambled for long range ammo for this this video that I was making, and ended up blowing like a bunch of different ammo for that. And then we turned around and we were done. I was like, oh shit, I can't replenish all this. And same thing with shotgun. Like I would not have expected that, because I survived the great ammo shortage of what was it, 2012 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And you were still able to buy shotgun shells the entire time. But man, we would go, there's 2 Walmarts in town here, and we go to both of them, Sportsman's Warehouse, Murdoch's. None of them had birdshot.
I think it's all the lefties buying guns, and they saw that Dave Chappelle special. They just want to pepper them. They don't actually want to kill anybody.
All right. Well,
so it's their defensive ammo, so they've bought all the birdshot. I can't figure it out. It's like, when all the riots and stuff happened, I was like, okay, everybody's buying up the 9mm, 223, 5.56, but then all of a sudden now, like 12 gauge birdshot's the hot ticket. Like,
yeah.
So like record numbers of quail hunters or something.
Yeah, come to think of it, I haven't seen a quail in a while. So.
True, dude. Actually, I went quail hunting with a buddy up in central northern California, and we saw like 2 birds the entire time.
Crazy.
So maybe that's what's going on.
Yeah, just everybody's really getting into hunting. It's all the survivalists we were talking about, the van life people. They're shooting quail to survive.
I don't think they're gonna actually hit me, to be fair. It's kind of hard to hit a quail. You have to practice a little bit.
That's why all the shotgun shells are gone, because they're using so many of them.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's been nuts here with shotgun shells. And even like 2 weeks ago, the Murdochs here in town, which is like a ranch supply kind of thing, they ended up expanding into the retail center next to them and put in like a big gun area, which was a perfect thing to do at the end of a gun rush. Cool. And they had some birdshot, but it was like stuff you'd never ever heard of. You know, it was like, yeah, Thompson's discount birdshot or something like that. I don't know.
Some old dude in his garage with like a reloader making it.
Yeah.
Cardboard boxes.
Yeah, pretty much. It's like handwritten on there, 12 gauge. Like, oh, I don't know about this.
I acquired some Aguila, and I did not have good luck with that. I was getting like malfunctions that I can't even imagine how they happen in my 1301. So I can't really use those in matches. Luckily, I didn't buy that much of it.
Yeah, that's a bummer. Just put that in the practice pile.
I'm a little bit picky too. When it comes to major matches, I like to use proper ammo. It's like you invest so much in flight, hotel, training. It's like I'd like to use the shotgun shells that I like to use, and I'd like to have good long range ammo if I'm going to shoot long range, or else it's kind of like, why bother? I'm going to win, you know, like if I'm going to go to a major match, I'm trying to win. So
yeah, I'm going for mid pack, and I still do the same thing. Like I will shoot, 77s or 75s at all long range stuff. And I'll shoot all double A's for a whole match. But man, last year I had to kind of be picky. That I shot the Gadsden Shotgun Championship like in April or something like that, and it was like 250 rounds. And I think I used like 4 different brands of shotgun shell to finish the match.
Oh man,
yeah.
Well, I mean, it's like it doesn't really matter what you're going for. If you're going for middle of the pack or if you're trying to win, it's like you want to have your best performance. You don't want to be like clearing mouths on your shotgun all day. Nobody wants to do that.
Yeah, I've been that guy that's done that. It's like, oh yeah, I'll save a few pennies here, and it's just so not worth it. Like on the clock, it's like I'd pay $20 not to have this malfunction right now.
Yep. I will use that stuff at local matches. That's okay.
Yeah, for sure.
But,
yeah, I'll do whatever I got. I'll do the random bucket of pickups at club matches.
Ooh, that's real.
Yeah.
You're really getting crazy.
Yep. You dig stuff out of your glove box and the map pockets in your truck, and yeah, this will be fine.
Dump box.
All
the rounds that people racked out.
Exactly. All the stuff that you find in the mud over the season, you just kind of put it in your pocket. Yeah, those are the ones. It's only been through the washing machine once. It'll be fine.
Good luck. Maybe a 223.
Yeah. So you shot a bunch of AK matches. That on its nose seems like something that we could not have done a couple of years ago. And there's just been like this explosion in AK carbine matches out there.
Yeah, it's pretty wild how much it's exploded from Red October. And like I said, I think I mentioned it in the last podcast, like Red October is the very first one is what got me into competition shooting. Like I liked AKs, saw a bunch of dudes on YouTube running around. This guy, Sam Travis, who I don't think he shoots anymore, but running around hosing stuff with an AK, kicking doors and throwing hand grenades. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to do that. And that's what got me sucked into it. So I got to imagine it just brings in like a whole nother group of people, brings in tactical people. It's pretty, AK matches are just different. You know, they're more laid back rule set. Usually they're not trying to DQ people. It's just, it's more of a good time a lot of times than going and shooting like a major USPSA match or something like that.
Yeah. It's definitely fun to shoot something different, which is, I guess, different for me because I'm typically shooting an AR-15, but you've got a ton of time on AKs, right?
Yeah, I mean, before I even got into this, I shot tens of thousands of rounds of 7.62 through my SKS. That was like one of the first guns I ever got, and I bought AK-74, AK-47s, built AKs. I was really into that, and then I was already doing really well in the past few years. I've won Clash Bash last year, Red October, the last 3 Red Octobers, I think.
Damn, son.
And then, so I've had a real good luck with the AKs. I've got so many damn rounds on them. I've trained with them so much. And I always do switch over and like train leading up to these AK matches. And then this year, Jeremy Gresham hit me up from IWI and asked me if I wanted to shoot a Galil. I was like, fuck yeah, I want to shoot a Galil. So, yeah, I've been shooting heavy with Galil, and I made my own iron sights and did all my nerdery to the gun. put one of my homemade muzzle brakes on it, and man, that thing is, yeah, it made it a little bit easier. It's kind of a little bit unfair.
Yeah, it's funny when I switched to the Galil. Like I knew I was going to shoot open, right? Because I was shooting for Vortex, so I knew I was going to put an optic on it. And so no matter what optic you put on there, if it's a dot or if it's a scope at that time, you can tell me if it's the same way now, you'd be an open. Yes. So I figured, well, if I'm going to go open, then I'll get the 5.56 because it shoots, it'll use that D60, right?
Yes.
So yes. That was my gamer thing, but those
and recoil as well.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, huge 7.62 compared to 5.45 or 2.23 on an AK. Like that is a big advantage to have less recoil.
For sure. But then not last year, I think it was like 2019 or something like that. I went to Red October and I was messing around with the Galils in the demo booth, and the 7.62s are awesome. And with they had OSS suppressors over there, and ooh, man, they were super quiet, like surprisingly quiet. I was pretty amazed by that. So kind of thought after that, I was like, shit, should I have got the 7.62?
Yeah, I mean, personally, okay, I will say this. Now there's an open heavy and open light in a lot of these AK matches, except for the one in Arizona. So you're not at a disadvantage if you want to shoot a 7.62 with a dot or a scope. You're going to be shooting against other guys with a 7.62. But man, like if I'm going to go shoot an AK match, I'm shooting 7.62 by 3.9. Like I'm going there to have a gun that's like has some significant recoil, and I can game it a little bit more because, now I got a Galil with a really nice muzzle brake, and I'm like a giant human, so I kind of eat up some of the recoil too.
Well, and they've got the Gen 2 out now, right? So it's like nearly a free float barrel, other than the piston, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know.
Yes.
There's some sort of
Yeah.
upgrades on there.
Yeah, it's a free float handguard, and then the gas tube is kind of resting on the front shoulder of the gas block, but it's really held in place in the rear trunnion. It gets like wedged into the rear trunnion by the dust cover, so it's really well engineered. Like a lot of people like the looks of the Gen 1s better. If I want to like go to a match and win, though, I'm going to shoot the Gen 2 all day, because like being able to push into barricades when you're shooting positional rifle is kind of a big deal, not shifting your point of impact.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
Also, you can get pretty far out on the gun, which we were talking about making rifles. You obviously know how important it is to have like a handguard that's long enough to use.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, they've made some really good upgrades to those. It's kind of cool to see that happening. And talking to Lan a few months ago about the revolution that seems to be happening in like gear and gadgets for AKs. It seems like there's a lot of cool stuff that's going on right now.
Oh yeah, I should mention that Lan and Mike at Dissident did that Galil up for me. So that gun already had this insane trigger and their Dissident stock and all the Gucci stuff that Dissident does to guns.
Nice. Now, do you take any heat at the matches for shooting a Gucci gun now and not shooting, I guess, period correct wood and shovel?
I'm sure there's hurt feelings, but they don't say anything to me. They can. People, if anybody wants to come tell me that it's unfair, I'll be like, you know what? I'm not going to say that you're wrong, buddy. might be a little bit of truth to that, but it's racing.
Yeah, and in racing,
AKs or pistols or whatever, it's still racing.
Got to take any advantage you can.
Yes, sir. But yeah, the AK matches are really interesting. I shot the Red October Cold War match for the first time, which was in Arizona at Rio Salado.
Yeah.
That was the first weekend of October, and that was a whole different level. Usually AK matches are pretty simple stages. They're easy to execute so that like new shooters can get through without having their souls completely crushed. Not the case at all. It was like insanely difficult technical stages. If you've shot Superstition, I don't know, you haven't been to Superstition yet.
No,
right?
I haven't been to that one yet.
Well, you always got a memory stage, at least one or two that are going to be complicated memory stages. You better get there the day before if you want to not look like a complete jackass. And then you're going to have a lot of long range, unlike every other stage, at least, if not more than half of the stages. And I thought they were going to dumb it down for the AK match. They did not. Like, they maybe brought the targets in a little bit closer so all the dudes with iron sights like myself could hit them. But yeah, it was like a full-on Superstition Mountain 3 gun AK edition. They had a moving target at 250 yards, I think it was. So it was an AC zone that spins, and you can only see it as it presents itself over the top of a plate. And you have to kind of, yeah. And I mean, I actually got destroyed at Superstition. I might as well just gone home. Like, I whiffed like a whole mag on that thing. I was like, all right, you guys win. I'm fucking done. That was like my second stage or something with an AR, because it turned out I was leading too much. Like a 223 gets there so fast. You like,
yeah.
At 300 yards at Superstition, but it's like, I thought you needed the lead. You pretty much just hold on the edge of the plate and it would hit it.
Yeah, pretty much.
I did the same hold with the AK with iron sights and get a first shot hit. Like, go figure. Well, maybe a little lucky. But yeah, that was a rad match. And then they had a cool thing. It was called High Cold Warrior. So you can also shoot ARs in that match with iron sights. And High Cold Warrior was like whoever placed the highest with iron sights, didn't matter what division, would win a gun. That was the only like gun that was awarded for performance from Lee Armory, which was super cool. You could take your pick of any of these like badass AK builds that they had. And yeah, I won that. I actually won that match overall. So I was
nice.
I didn't even know that was a thing. I'm like, wait a minute, what? Yeah, I get a gun. Cool.
That's cool.
Raffle. So that was rad. Then there was a Clash Bash was literally the next weekend in Texas.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've talked about Clash Bash on the show before, right?
Oh yeah, we've talked about that one. You were at the first one when it was at the other range, right, in Navasota?
No, I was only there last year. Was my
Oh,
first
okay.
one.
Zach was there, I know.
Yep. Zach was there, and then he missed this one.
Jeez,
Or
lame.
sorry, no, Zach was here for this one. My bad.
Yeah, that. So you were saying that was at the ranch, right?
Yeah, at the ranch.
And how was the match?
Oh, it was great. Like we were talking about earlier, but there was like I think there was around 600 people in Kalash Bash, and actually less than half of them were shooting the match. I think it was like 250 of them were shooting the match, and the majority of people were just there to shoot vendor guns. Like all these companies had machine guns set up, IWI, Lee Armory, Century Arms, M13. Like you just go around all day and shoot machine guns and have the time of your life. They had carnival stages where you pay a couple bucks and you do like 6 shots on a plate rack with whatever gun they provided and ammo, and then whoever got the fastest time would win a gun at the end. And it's like a whole different camaraderie at that match. I would say Clash Bash is, if somebody wanted to do a first match, would be fantastic because the stages are super fun, big Texas stages, easy to hit all the targets, but they still, they really shake out the better shooters at the same time. It's not just like, it's not a coin flip or anything like that.
That's good.
And then you have a good time. I mean, I showed up to the party on Saturday night just to see what was going on, where all the campers are. And there's like a tree that they just cut down and started on fire with gasoline in the middle of a giant field. And there's like Daft Punk, that One More Time, that old song blaring, and just like, I'm like, what the fuck is going on? This is crazy.
Dude, that's like the Woodstock of AK matches.
It is, man. I think the like Clayco 47 on Instagram, he kind of made this whole like Texas AK culture. Like he created his own beast, man. I hope he's happy with himself. They all got these like they wear these plate carriers that are made out of like denim and stuff, and you'll see dudes with like cowboy hats and short shorts with a denim plate carrier with mags in it. Like it's a party, man. It's pretty fun.
That sounds intense.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the time that I was there it was pretty incredible. I couldn't believe it. It was like a classic car show, where people are matching their sling to their mags and their mags to their rifle and stuff like that, and it all has to be the same. Otherwise, like it's not even worth bringing. And then,
absolutely.
Like I'm over there with my Galil and my D60, like.
Yeah, I know. I kind of feel like a loser too when I'm there. I'm like, man, I got all my gamer stuff. It's all tuned to just win a match, and this dude's in like a full Haji get up with like period correct folding, like wire folding stock AK made in Egypt, and Egyptian mags, and like it's cool. It's like totally different cultures, but it all kind of comes together and it works. And
yeah,
I think everybody gets along. It's not like that weird thing where it's like, the Timmies or the LARPers are against the competition guys. It's kind of like everybody's just there doing their thing, and that's cool, man. Like, let me check out that badass side folder you got. And they're like, hey, man, that's a cool Galil. Let me check out that like gamer Galil that you got. It's a good thing that they got going.
Well, good. That's awesome. So is the Red October, what was it called? Red October Cold War?
Cold War?
Does that have like the same atmosphere? Are there spectators and stuff that come out for that?
Not as much. Like Lee Armory had a booth there. There was like a couple vendors, but it was more like Superstition 3 gun with AKs.
Got it.
It was Arizona people. Like the shooting culture in Arizona is, people are just good. Like everybody just knows how to shoot there. You got more GMs per capita. You got Nils out there, obviously, and all these other GM pistol shooters, and they come out and shoot AKs. They're like, fuck yeah, of course I got an AK.
That's awesome.
Or an AR with iron sights. So it was mostly like California people and Arizona people, I think. Still a big crowd, I think it was 300-ish in the match, but yeah, it's just funny because everybody got through that match. I never really saw anybody struggling. And it was hard. Like you had to hit some stuff. You were shooting iron sights, which probably more than half of the people there were shooting irons. Like you got to be pretty good to hit a AC zone at 300 yards with irons on the clock. And
Yeah.
then you take a look at like the real Red October, at the end of the month in Vegas, Brian Nelson's match, and our good friend JR's match now. There was people struggling, like very, very new shooters. I'm not like saying anything bad about them, but there was people struggling with very, very easy stages there that were just new. It was a totally different, more experienced vibe.
Interesting.
In Arizona.
Yeah, that does seem like a completely different vibe because the first Red October that I shot a borrowed AK that belonged to Tim Yackley, and I shot like 5.45 by 39. And at the end, I'm like, "Hey man, what do I owe you for ammo?" And he's like, "I don't know, like $13." But it was good old days. But I know,
best caliber ever, by the way.
Yeah, it was actually, that was a really fun rifle to shoot. But yeah,
it'll kill you too, real good.
Kill you good, kill you twice. But those targets were super attainable to be nice, right? Like you're shooting 11 by 17s at 75 yards. That was like the hardest or the most difficult target.
Yeah. It was definitely set up to, I think it's a good idea, right? Like you want a guy who shows up with like a 7.62 crank with like a shot out barrel to be able to finish the match.
Yeah.
And hit all the targets.
Well, and I do like that it's attainable to new people and stuff. I do think that's really cool aspect of it, especially when it first started, because there wasn't that competition culture within the AK world. So it's if it can just introduce one more person to going fast with guns, and then they shoot a second match, maybe a third match, like that's pretty cool.
Yes, I agree. I think it's huge. And actually, I mean, that might be a good way to start getting into some of the other 2-gun matches.
Yeah.
Which were kind of a new thing. So in 2021, there was hard as hell 2-gun. I think that has already happened a couple previous years, but it's the first time that I shot it. And then there was also the PCSL 2-gun. And like, speaking of bringing new people in, like that first P2G, Max Leograndis is running these matches in Utah. Who he's kind of all right at shooting rifles, I guess.
Yeah, he's okay.
Yeah, he's all right. Just like 5-time national champion with the PCC. So the first one was called P2G. I think since then he was figuring out what he wants to call the league and what he wants to do with it. And now it's called the PCSL. And then it's going to have 2-gun, 3-gun matches, 2-gun matches, 3-gun matches, and rifle matches, which is going to be pretty freaking cool.
What does the C stand for? Is it Practical Competition Shooting League?
Yes, Practical Competition Shooting League. And it kind of is cool because there's only 2 divisions. It's practical and competition, which we'll get into it later. But I'm a little bummed that I have to get a red dot on my pistol. There's nowhere for iron sight pistols. But other than that, I think it's really cool keeping the divisions to an absolute minimum. And it's literally in the name of the league. It's like practical competition. That's it. You got a practical division, competition division, and you can have, you can do 2-gun or 3-gun events or just rifle matches. And the first one, I should say, the P2G, Lucas from T-Rex Arms, he even got involved in it. He sponsored it. He showed up, was hanging out at the match the whole time, and he brought in like a ton of guys that were, they were just into Timmy stuff before that. They were into night vision and LARPing or whatever you want to call it. And I think a lot of them probably had a really good time, and I'm sure a lot of those dudes showed up again. And I think Lucas does really great shit, bringing in gamers and people that, otherwise wouldn't have gotten into the shooting sports or wouldn't have gotten into the tactical, like AR-15 facet of shooting. So I think he's doing good stuff. I think the shooting league, like having a 2-gun match where it's a little more obtainable, same kind of thing as Red October. The max target distance is 200 yards, and anything past 100 is going to be an AC zone, like a full AC zone silhouette. So it's like you don't need 75 grain. You don't need to have a scope. You could shoot the whole thing with a dot in any division. It's just really accessible, and I think it's going to do great at bringing people into the sport.
That's really cool. I really hope that it takes off and that it does well. And I hope those guys that came from T-Rex fanboys, and I mean that in a nice way, come back and shoot again, because like Lucas Botkin has like a big voice in the space, right? Like people are definitely paying attention to his stuff. Like I remember I shot just like a Saturday 3-gun match at TSA, Texas Shooting Academy, which is Jared Halbert and Aaron Hayes and Stephen Lee's range in Texas there. And they had a 2-gun division because some local tactical guys inquired about starting the range, and they're like, oh, you should come shoot 3-gun, and then they wouldn't do it. So they're like, well, what if we made a 2-gun division? And so those guys came, and they all had that the nut hugger holster strap.
Yes, I know you're talking about.
That
seems very uncomfortable.
It did not look comfortable at all. And
I mean, for the ladies maybe, but I don't know if I'd want that as a dude.
Yeah, I have no idea. More power to them, but they all had it, and so I just assumed that they were all from that like genre of tactical type shooting, and it was great though because they came out and they shot a match, and some of the guys were shooting like 12-inch pistols. And nice. At that particular range, is only, I think we went out to like 150 yards or something like that. So it was easily attainable. But to have an environment where people will test the gear that they've been punching holes in paper for, for years, and then now they get to go out and actually try to take up a position on a barricade and learn reverse kneel and, use their pistol while they're moving on steel targets, which are unforgiving. Like that's really cool. It's a super cool thing. And if dropping the shotgun and doing a 2-gun match makes people do that, then more power to it. I hope it takes off.
Yeah, I think it's great for sure. And I mean, it also, like you said, having that 150-yard max distance, the dudes that are, their duty gun is a AR pistol or a short barrel rifle, and they do want to use a dot, it's obtainable. It's not like one of these matches with a 600-yard AC zone and it's in a shadow at this time of day and there's no fucking way you're going to hit that thing with a red. Like, why even bother? Like, it's cool having every target be obtainable. And then, like, I don't know about your experience with that match in Texas, but also with the PCSL and the Hard as Hell 2-gun, they really try to keep it safe. Like, we have all the important safety rules. Like, you can't break the 180. You're not going to be pointing guns at people. But all the dumb shit that is ridiculous that has become this culture in USPSA and some 3-gun matches is gone. And I wish I had it all on film, the award ceremony at the PCSL, but Max went hard on the crazy stuff that's happened in the USPSA. And I mean, it's the kind of stuff that turns people off from matches forever. Like, if you go to a match and you like maybe kind of broke the 180 barely, but it's not unsafe in any way and it's totally subjective and you get sent home, or I was reading an article today in the USPSA magazine about, this is like what they're focusing on. Like, if you put your gun in the holster and then your hand's on the gun and then you flick the safety on after, and then you take your hand off the gun, is that a DQ? It's like, how would you even fucking see that? You're never going to even see somebody doing that or not. And you put a Glock in without any safeties, which is fine. Stuff like that. And the example that Max had brought up was looking through your red dot with it pointed up in the sky.
Yep.
As he was on deck, and then unbagging and bagging rules. You've been over this for years.
Yeah. Mother, may I look through my dot?
Yes, please God. Can I like touch my gun, or like, where do I need to go? Should I go in the porta potty and like get it out of the case? Or?
Yeah. Wasn't it Mike Bauer that had a whole rule created after him after some butthurt USPSA RO lost his DQ challenge?
Was it Mike Bauer?
Wasn't that
I
the
hope
guy
it
that
is.
like got long beeped and he stepped out of the shooter box, flicked his safety off, and then flicked it back on, got in the box? Wasn't that Bauer?
I don't know. I hope it is. I hope it's Mike because I can ask him. He's a good buddy and local match director.
Yeah,
So I hope it's Mike.
I think that was him. We've mentioned it on the show before, and we've actually mentioned the person that it really was. But if memory serves, I think it was Mike Bauer, but maybe not. But anyway, like that kind of bullshit. It's like, now, hey, new rule: you flick your safety off before the beep, then you're DQ'd. Like, what the hell?
Why?
Like,
yeah,
what?
Ridiculous.
Yeah, exactly.
Looking for reasons to DQ people for stuff that's not safe. Like, what is looking through your dot with your PCC? Like, you're holding the gun pointed up in the air. Your eyeball looking through the optic makes it. How is that unsafe by any way? And what Max explained is that he got out of it. He talked his way out of it, and the ROs, had a powwow. And it's because he's a national champion,
Mm-hmm.
and he thinks it's bullshit that because he's a national champion, he gets off with it. And then 6 other people in the same match were DQ'd for it. It's fucking ridiculous. And they're just DQing people to either put a notch on their belt or like improve match flow, which is not a good culture. And that's going to push good people away from the sport. And I love it. I love that it's, they're doing the good. The first P2G, there was like crazy dust storms. And I remember I asked like, hey man, if I'm like halfway through the stage and like, I literally can't see the targets for 30 seconds. Can I like get a reshoot? RO calls Max. Max is like, yeah, of course. Like just run the stage. If there's some crazy stuff, the RO, you can stop him. I'm like, great. This is like the kind of common sense stuff. You can look at video evidence if you're, if you want to, you got a foot fault and you didn't really foot fault it and you got it on video. Okay, we'll look at the video. How hard is it?
Yeah.
So it's like really not that hard, but apparently it is. And I think, he's doing a great job with it. And then you had the Hard as Hell 2-gun, which is not a good match for anybody who just got started because it's absolutely fucking soul crushing.
Was that at the same range or was that at?
Yes.
Okay.
That was the first match at that new Cobalt Kinetics range and also in St. George.
Yeah.
But I don't know if you remember Ken Nelson talking about this desert paradise that he was envisioning and jungle runs and giant washes you could run through. And
yeah, I do remember that.
You remember that speech?
Yeah.
Well, that's it. I mean, it's heaven. It's an amazing range. They're just building. I think they've got like 10 or more bays now. Some of them are 50 to 100 yards. So many jungle run areas, these like creeks or dry creek beds it's gorgeous. Like you have all these amazing rock formations in the background. And I mean, I couldn't think of a better place to have a 2-gun or 3-gun match. It's really something else. And I think Cobalt is really the guy there. Cobalt Kinetics bought the range and they let cool dudes like Max run matches there.
That's cool. It's great to see that happening. St. George is such a beautiful area, and man, I really wanted to make that match this year, but I just couldn't do it with everything else that was going on. But dang, you're making me feel terrible for missing it now.
Next year, dude, or this year, sorry. You gotta come out to one of those. And I don't know if there's gonna be more Hard as Hells. Brian might be taking a break or not running it for a little bit, but Hard as Hell 2-gun would be a pretty cool one to come to too. But
yeah, Hard as Hell 3-gun was always such a kick in the pants. So I'm sure Hard as Hell 2-gun was good too.
Yeah. Even harder. I would say it's even harder.
Really?
Yeah.
Jeez. Well, I saw that just before we got on here that Max was announcing the 2022 schedule for his league. So we're gonna have to put something on the schedule for that.
Yes, sir. I'll be looking forward to shooting one of those. You gotta get in my squad.
All right. Yeah, we've never shot together. We got to do that.
Hell yeah, man.
Well, on that note, let's since we just started talking about 22, what do you say we switch it up here and talk about our main topic, which is goal setting?
Sounds good to me.
So, I don't know about you, Kyle, but every year I sit down around this time usually and sort of take stock of how my last year went and write down some objectives for the next year. And usually I never look at them again after that.
Very true.
Yeah, I got a big problem with that, right? So I'm the stereotypical New Year's resolution person where I'll write stuff down, or at least I write it down. I'll write stuff down and then I rarely look at it again. And then like a year or two later, I'm going back through my notebook and I'm like, oh shit, that's right. I wanted to do that at one time. And
go on a limb and say you're probably not the only one. I think there's a lot of people that do that.
Yeah, in fact, just talking about goals here in general. So I guess I did a little bit of research before looking this up, or before the podcast here, because I've done goal setting before in like the corporate environment, and obviously personal goals and things like that. Creating the 3 Gun Show was a goal, all kinds of stuff. So I've definitely accomplished a lot of goals in my life, but then I look back and I think of the ones that I forgot about that weren't at the forefront of my mind. And I realize that revisiting them from time to time would probably get you there. So a goal, it's something for you to strive for and measure your progress by. And that's the part I always forget, is that there's progress, right? So you and I, before we started talking about this, we were talking about the difference between process goals and outcome goals. And I've realized in our chat that most of my goals have been outcome goals, and which is basically like, I want to have a podcast, right? Or I want to finish top 5 at a major match. Those are outcome goals. And you were talking specifically about setting process goals, and I'm interested to hear your method. How would you like personally define a process goal? What's the difference between that and an outcome goal?
So for me, I think that an outcome goal, like, I want to finish first place, or I want to, like you were saying, you want to make a podcast. I don't even think that is necessarily like an outcome goal. I would say that saying I want to make a podcast and have 5 million views a month on the podcast, those are like outcome goals that are not really in your control. Like there's so much that happens organically that you can't really define yourself, that you can accomplish them. It can happen, but a lot more times than less, you're going to get hurt. You're going to get your feelings hurt by what actually happens. And, you're going to get more burnout. I think you're going to get more burnout when you're like really striving for these like hard defined numerical things that you want to happen. I think that, that like a more healthy goal is, like you said, like a process goal. Like, I'm going to, work at this thing. I'm going to improve this skill, and whatever happens. Like, this is maybe what I'm trying to obtain, but I don't ever really look at it as a goal. Like I said earlier, like, I go to matches with the intention to win a match. Like, I want to go there to win, but my focus is never on just winning the match. I'm never going like visualizing, getting my trophy and winning the match and looking at practice score with that win. All I'm doing is going, oh, I'm going to try to dry fire more than everybody else that's going to that match. I'm going to try to have sufficient cardio to where I can perform through that stage. I'm going to lift weights, and I'm going to be able to move quickly and know that I can, my footwork is going to be a little bit quicker than everybody there. And I'm going to try to push those. It's like moving stats. Like, if you're looking at your own statistics, I watched some YouTube video about this recently, that like life is like a RPG game almost, which I don't even play RPG games, but it was like a good take. Like, all you can do is really increase your stats, which is kind of a obtainable goal, right? Like, if you do something more and you do it in a focused way, you're going to get better at it. I don't know if you would agree with that.
No, I like that. And that kind of goes into something that we were talking about beforehand here, and kind of a perspective that I've thought about recently. So for people that obviously were not listening to Kyle and I before we started recording, we were talking a little bit about the current state of politics and the environment in the United States as it sits January 2nd, 2022, right? Things are kind of weird. They've been a little weird for 2 years.
Yeah.
And one of the things that you mentioned is that you're not trying to convince people any longer. And I've taken that as well. And so I don't actually play video games. I know you're into first person shooter games, and we're going to talk about that in a minute here. I don't play that, but I'm aware of a term called NPC. What does that mean?
Non-playable character.
Non-playable character.
That's like the guy you walk up to in the game and he's there, he's the farmer and he says the same thing every time you walk up to him. He's just like existing.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people are like that. And from my observation, and those are the people I'm not trying to convince any longer. Like those are NPCs, but people that, can string a thought or two together like Kyle, those are the people I'm going to spend my time on and have conversations with going forward. So
well, there's actually people, like I send Zach Smith, my good buddy, memes all the time, which are like actual Twitter posts from people that, I don't know, I'm going to sound crazy, but people who do not have internal monologues, this is a thing. And I'm assuming that damn near everybody listening to this podcast, you probably have an internal monologue. You probably talk to yourself in your mind and you think things out in English, or you visualize things like shapes and objects, and like you have that internal dialogue. There's people that, like, actual good amount of people that do not do that. They do not have that. And I would say those people are probably very, very easy to manipulate, and are probably a good portion of the people that are buying into everything going on the last couple of years.
So I actually just became aware of that last year, that there were people that did not have like a inner dialogue in their head. Like yep. I my entire life I've been thinking thoughts and then thinking about the thoughts I think. I just can't imagine that there are people going around, just like smelling something and then eating a banana rather than thinking, I want a banana.
That's like how animals function. So it's really hard for me to wrap my head around. Still, I mean, I've heard this. I've watched interviews with people who claim that they have no inner monologue, and they're explaining like how they go through life and everything, because it's fascinating to me. But I mean, unless these people are full of shit and they're just trolling all of us, like, which, tip of the hat to them.
I know.
That shit's hilarious, but it's hard for me to wrap my head around it.
Yeah, I gotta do some research on that, because the first parallel I drew was my dog. Like there's got to be stuff going on in his head, and I can even tell what he's thinking sometimes just by his body language. But there are people out there where it's like, Jesus, is there anything going on?
Yeah. I remember having an English teacher that was trying to explain to us that dogs don't have any emotion and they don't actually think anything through. And I was like, bullshit.
Yeah, right.
I have watched my dog peek every window in the entire house to make sure that he thought that we were all gone, at which point then he decided to go bury his bone in an inconspicuous location where he thought that we would not find it, only after checking that. I'm like, it's not that complex, but there's like a thought process going on here. I'm sorry, I'm going down that tangent.
No, that's totally fine. I've seen the same behavior in dogs, where they do. Yeah, they're definitely thinking something. I don't know. I don't think. Well, I take that back. Like our first dog that I had when we were younger, Missy, she was a black lab. She had nothing going on. She was pretty darn dumb. But I will say, like cattle dogs, you can watch them trying to figure stuff out, and bird dogs and stuff like that. So
yes.
Yeah.
This was a Weimaraner, the story I was telling.
Oh, yeah. Those are smart dogs. Elk hunting dogs in Germany.
Yeah, elk and bear. Crazy.
Bear? No shit.
Yep.
Crazy.
Bear, too. But, so that's, on the same topic of goals, process, and what's the word I'm looking for right now?
Process and outcome.
And outcome, sorry. So something that I made a mistake on this year is, I wanted to get into hunting. I wanted to hunt big game for the first time. And I set outcome goals, right? I said, I want to shoot my first deer. And I said, I want to shoot my first elk. Total nonsense goals. Like, I wasn't thinking of how difficult that process actually is. I wasn't thinking about how little I actually know, how little experience I have about everything from like finding the animals, understanding their habitat, stalking them, getting close enough to shoot them, and then, gutting and skinning and processing the game. I just thought, I want to kill a deer. I'm going to do this.
Have you ever been hunting before?
I've only been small game hunting until this year.
Okay.
And then I knew I'm like, okay, yeah, I can shoot. Like, I can shoot a bolt gun. I'm pretty sure I can hit a deer in the vitals at 500 yards or whatever. So I bought a 300 Win Mag. And I got really lucky, honestly. I bought some gear. I met a really cool guy, my buddy Mark, and he hooked me up with some gear for backpacking, and he kind of led me along because he had been having trouble actually hitting the deer. He knew where the deer were, but he couldn't hit them. We met each other, and then I was like, hey man, I know how to shoot. So if you want me to come along, I know I can hit the deer if you can find them. And basically I got really lucky. My outcome goal worked out, which they do sometimes, right? And along the way, I found all these, process goals. I was like, oh shit, I need to figure out how to shoot better a bolt gun in a seated position. I need to dope this rifle out and be confident in my holds to 500 yards. So I'm putting in work doing that. I need to figure out how I need to watch a million YouTube videos on how to gut a deer because I'm literally like clueless on all this stuff. So, along the way, I found more processes that I needed to, more skills that I needed to hone and define. But in reality, I had an outcome goal. I got super lucky, probably shouldn't have, and I got a deer, right? And sometimes it works out, right? Sometimes you can have this outcome goal, and you can get lucky, but I don't think it's the right way to go about it. I really don't think it's the right way to go about achieving what you want in life.
Well, so then, so looking at your 2022 season as an example, how do you structure your life goals or your shooting goals?
So I will say, I think I've kind of at this point, I've been in shooting for about 5 years, like competitive shooting. Before that, played paintball competitively my whole life. So I kind of have like this system of things that I want to constantly keep doing, and I've made a lifestyle around it where I have allotted time every day to do these things. So basically, I don't, my goals, like outcome goals in 2022 are just to like shoot these matches. Like I have, I want to shoot Superstition 3 gun. I've shot Superstition 3 gun 4 times. I've never won it. I want to shoot PCSL. I want to shoot Texas 3 gun, Vortex Tri-gun, AK matches. And then I want to go shoot Expedition multi-gun, which that one I might have kind of an outcome goal because I've won it the last 2 years and along with the AK matches. But even matches I've won previous years, even consecutive previous years, I don't try to think I want to win them. I think I want to go shoot the match, and I want to be as prepared as I possibly can. If Christian Sailor shows up and decides to shoot a fucking AK, then I'm not winning the match. Like it is what it is. If Max Leograndis is shooting my division in some kind of a carbine match, like, I'm not going to win the match. Like that's just how it is. And I think it's more healthy to just think I want to go to the match and do the best I can. So to do that, I just say, I'm just going to continue with my life and maybe push a little harder on some things, which is like dry fire, lifting weights, cardio, and then, gaming on PC in a way that I think helps my cognitive abilities in shooting. And those 4 things are kind of my goals, is just to continue doing them. So it's not really even like I have a 2022 goal. It's like I'm just rolling into 2022, doing the same thing I have been doing. And, I bought a couple more 10-round plates for my squat rack. Maybe I'll push the weight a little bit more. Maybe I will dry fire a little bit more with my new IWI rifles, like put in a little bit of extra work, get a little bit better rifle. And then cardio, it's kind of something that I hate it with all of my being. So I just try to maintain it, keep it at a level where I'm not putting myself at a disadvantage in a match.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at right now. Like I'll go lift weights 4 or 5 times a week. I don't want to do cardio.
It's horrible.
I know. And then I've got we're going to be doing the Big Bend Blast and Dash 5K run again in July.
Nice.
Which means I'll have to run that since I'm helping put it on again. So damn it.
So you've got to now you're going to have to, because you can't pass out trying to shoot your own match.
Oh, I know for sure. And yeah, so in that case, I don't want to get off the process goals, but in that case, I'm going to use a process that Ken Nelson told me about called back planning.
Okay.
And he just told me that that's what it was called, and I had to look it up. But he's like, "We'll talk about it next time," and then I never saw him again. But the basically, like, you have your outcome goal, right? For me, it would be to, complete the Big Bend Blast and Dash without embarrassing myself and without vomiting, I guess would be a good goal.
There you go.
Yeah. And so you plan back from there. Like, okay, so that's call that a long-term goal, even though it's only like 7 months away. And usually long-term goals are like 5 months away, but in a shooting season, that could be your long-term goal, right? Yeah. So if that's your long-term goal, then what's your medium-term goal? Is like, well, shit, I need to get from where, I think the farthest distance that I've run in the last month has been a mile. I need to get that up to 3.5 miles because, run and gun is approximately a 5K, right? So, so that's how it goes. And you don't need to do that constantly, but you need to get to the point where you can run, say, a half a mile, calm yourself enough to shoot a rifle, run a half a mile, calm yourself enough to shoot a rifle, run a half a mile, and then just keep doing that until 3.5 miles has passed, right?
Yeah.
So, okay, well, what's that going to take? That's going to take, me. Okay, we're gonna do another mile this week, and then maybe next week we're gonna up that to 1.1 miles, or the week after maybe we go to 1.5 miles or something, or maybe it's a month. I don't know. I haven't sat down and done the math yet, but gradually increasing those things. So then by medium term goal, halfway through or halfway between here and there is, say, April-ish. By April, I should be running at least 2.5 miles. And
Gotcha.
That way I can maintain and ratchet that up until July, where I don't, just now creeping into July, I've run that 3.5 miles. Like, I've done it several times before then. Right. And then
I think that's pretty reasonable, right? Like that's stuff that you can actually plan for. Like, it's stuff that that you can do. You can change your body in that way. It's completely in your own control is what I should say, right?
Yeah, for sure. And the thing that I like about that method is that you start with an outcome goal and then you figure out process goals to get you to that outcome.
True.
Which I think is kind of cool.
But I think that it is that kind of an outcome goal. Oh, I'm seeing what you're saying for sure. I think that is a good outcome goal. That's the kind of an outcome goal that is actually obtainable and actually in your control. I think what I'm trying to say is that outcome goals that are out of your control, that are based on the actions of other people, are the ones that aren't a great idea.
Yeah, and I guess I should clarify that I usually staff that and run with staff, so we're not scored. A better example of an outcome goal would be that I want to run the Big Bend Blast and Dash and I want to finish top 10.
Mm-hmm.
That's an outcome goal, right? Because that depends, like, well, if Kyle's showing it, how's Kyle's cardio? That kind of thing. So, yeah, I hear you on that one.
There could be 10 guys that are just like, CrossFit, crazy, super athletic people. And, there's 10 of them. You want top 10. And they've been at this cardio thing for the last 10 years. They're just freaking machines. Like, it's out of your control, and you can't do it. I think that, like what you're saying, I want to complete this match. I want to do the best that I can at this match. And then what did you call it? Back
planning? Yep.
Back planning. I mean, I think that's fantastic, because, like, how hard is it to be motivated to do anything without a goal at the end of it, right?
Yeah. And I tell you, for something that I've really learned about myself in the last 2 years is that I need time bound things. Otherwise they tend to not happen. So a time bound thing for me that that is a constant is the Wednesday the 3 Gun Show comes out. So I know that needs to happen, right? If I were to put out a podcast when I was done, probably would never get done.
Yes.
So
No, absolutely.
if I say like I need to start running some more instead of, deadlifting so much. Like that's a shitty goal for me because that's not time bound and it'll never happen. And I'll end up on June 13th going, oh, it's a month till the blast and dash. I better start running.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. You need to have some time constraints to your goals because you're not gonna be motivated to do them. But I mean, let me ask you this: like, would you see just signing up for a match as being a time constraint goal?
Well, so yes and no. So the example that I came up with for like how to do the back planning, and then I just completely changed it in the middle of our talk here, was like long-term goal. Like I want to shoot my first major match, right? So if you're give me a match that happens in like September. Oh, Generation 3 Gun. There we go. So say that your goal is I want to shoot my first major match. You've chosen Generation 3 Gun and that's September, right? Well, so if you've never shot a match before, like what needs to happen before that? You should probably shoot a club match. And if you're smart, you're going to shoot, let's see, it's 9 months away. So there's probably, if you're not including the winter, there's probably 7 opportunities. You probably want to shoot at least 3 club matches. Right. And that's not saying like you have to shoot at least 3 club matches, but if you're really thinking this through and you're thinking like, what's going to make me most comfortable to shoot this, my first major match, I want to shoot 3 club matches before I get there. Okay. So what do I need to do to shoot that first club match? And then now you're talking about like, okay, well, I need to make sure I have enough ammo for 3 club matches. And so maybe I need to go to the store and purchase ammo. I need to make sure that my guns are in working order. So you have to go to the range. I need to make sure that my rifle is zeroed. So you have to plan a range trip for that. And if you're using that major match, so that's time bound, right? And if you want to make sure you're prepared, then you set yourself little milestones along the way. And then that turns your outcome of shooting. Well, I guess that is for shooting your first major match, you really should not have any sort of outcome goal based on it other than completing it safely and efficiently, right? So then that turns into those process goals, and maybe if it's like, well, I don't feel comfortable with a shotgun chest rig on, so I need to drop 10 pounds before I do that. Okay, well, how are you going to lose a pound a month for 9 months to arrive at that place when Generation 3 Gun happens?
I think when I'm thinking of things from my perspective where, I've been doing this thing for a long time, same as you. You've been shooting for almost 10 years, right? Or more than 10 years?
Yeah, 10 years.
So we're like looking at this from our perspective, but now thinking back to when this was all new to me, maybe you can't even have a process goal at that point. You need to have like you need to go, oh, I want to shoot this match. So, okay, the first match I wanted to shoot Red October. I was like, I want to shoot this Red October match. And just like you were saying, what do you need to do before that? Well, at the moment, I didn't fucking know. I'm like, I have no idea. How do you shoot a competition? Well, I'll go shoot something similar. Found a USPSA match locally. I'm like, okay, I guess this seems like a thing I could do. I'm going to go show up. So it's kind of, you have to go digging to even find processes that you need to improve initially, right? Like you don't even know what processes you need to get better at. You're like, oh, I know how to shoot. I've been shooting since I was 12 years old. Like that doesn't mean anything, right? But now I want to go shoot this, like you said, Generation 3 gun. So if you don't know anything, maybe you just kind of take it one step at a time and you organically figure out processes that you need to get better at, which happens by like taking it one step at a time. You find a match, you go to the match. Okay, I got to figure out how to move around safely with a gun. okay, got all that. Oh, damn, these guys are way faster than me. And they're controlling their recoil a lot better with the handgun. Okay, I got to figure out how to shoot doubles with a handgun. I need to figure out how to move with efficiency. I got to figure out, how to tune my rifle. I got to figure out what optics to get. So it all like, you start like, as you learn more, you find more processes that you can hone in on. But I think in the very early days of trying to get into something, and I'm sure this could be like, weightlifting, running, mountain climbing, off-roading with trucks, like with anything, you kind of just got to get into it and not be trying to be overly prepared for something that you know nothing about, and just dive into it and then start creating process goals. I hope that makes sense.
No, that totally makes sense. And, I had not thought of it that way, but, so maybe in the beginning you'd need those outcome goals to at least get you to a place where what processes you need to refine, right? Because when you're a newbie, you don't know what you don't know, right? And I know there's a lot of people that listen to the show that are newer shooters, or maybe haven't shot their first match or something like that. So I want to make that that part of it accessible. But then, of course, there's people listening to the show that are like, okay, well, how do I beat Litzie? There's that type of person out there as well. So maybe yeah. I guess as we're talking this out here, there is a place for process goals, and there is a place for outcome goals.
Yeah. I think we're kind of. Yeah, I'm thinking farther into it now, the more that we talk about it. And I think there's different ways you need to think about goals in different stages. And at the same time, you also, if you're in that area where, you really are trying to go for first place, you're like a top 10 shooter and you want to win a match. And, that's me at a lot of matches. Like, I'm not going to win every match I go to. There's dudes that are going to kick my ass. There's dudes that we're going to be really close all the time. And I need to be open-minded still to think that maybe there's some other processes that I need to work on that I've been overlooking. So you need to have your stats that you're improving, your things that you're working on. And then you also need to be always open to new processes that you need to be improving. And then as far as like new shooters, I can tell you right now, I can go through my phone and my old photos, and I have photos or videos of me probably the weekend after I shot my first USPSA match with an AK, and I had literally L-Pres set up in the desert, and I'm just hammering L-Preses with an AK. I'm trying to figure out how to pull trigger fast and like see my sights on the targets, because I realized from that first USPSA match, like, hey, this whole thing's kind of a blur. Like, I can't really process what's going on here. So right away, like, I see this progression in my like photo library of me like realizing these things that I needed to get better at, and then just thinking about it. And I didn't have to go on Reddit forums or take a class at that time. I just thought about, hey, I need to get better at this thing. How do I do it? And go recreate it.
Yeah, that's definitely where like we're just talking about the inner voice comes in handy.
Yes, that would be real rough without an inner voice, huh?
Yeah, I gotta say, like, I'm not sure if there's a practical shooter out there with without an inner voice, because if you do, if you do find after you shoot your first match that you enjoy it and it's something you want to dedicate time to, then you start looking for ways to get better. And like Kyle just said, you can craft your whole life around it, which makes a ton of sense, and create complementary hobbies, like complementary hobby of playing video games, complementary hobby of squatting, deadlifting, and doing cardio. I guess hunting is even a complementary hobby, when it comes down to it. So, yeah,
I was definitely always doing a lot of hiking before hunting. So even that one, I was big into hiking. I still am. I love hiking, and that's complementary to hunting. And then, funny, kind of a tangent, but the whole idea that practical shooting doesn't make you better at tactical shooting or anything like that is complete fucking nonsense, because I can tell you for a fact. So this year I shot a deer and an elk, and I shot the deer at 500 yards, and I shot the elk standing off of a tripod at 370 yards. And I was shitting my pants, obviously. I've never shot like a big animal before. And wounding it is like my absolute worst nightmare. I could not like imagine wounding a big animal like that. And having that control from competition shooting like that, being able to control my breathing and pretend like I use a lot of processes, like when I'm getting ready for a stage, when I'm nervous, where I like play super angry music in my head and tell myself I'm not afraid of anybody, or I go to like my desert shooting spot that I've done a lot of my training at, and I just pretend I'm like in my desert spot shooting, and it's no big deal. Same process has worked fantastic for, shooting a big game animal. So yeah, just that little tangent. Would probably no way I would have hit those shots. I would have been calm enough to break a shot actually hit a deer in the heart at 500 yards if I wasn't super calm. And there's no way I could have been calm if it wasn't for practical shooting. So,
yeah.
So little tangent there.
Well, that's cool to hear. We do get more reps and more experience as competitive shooters than most people will get in their entire life. The time on the clock is never long enough. It's always really short, but there's so much going on in that time. And the more you do it, the more calm you get when you are on the clock, and the more you're able to execute. So I can see how that would, translate to all other things in other areas.
I think you've had a lot of guests on that are, ex-military or police that have mentioned, that it's more stressful being, making ready on a stage a lot of times than being in a gunfight, because it just happens so fast. You don't even have time to like think about what's going on. And I've heard a lot of these guys that are ex special forces dudes on various podcasts talking about how the stress of competition shooting is going to make you a better, and I've never been in a gunfight. I'm not military or police or anything, but it makes sense to me that it would be helpful.
Well, one thing that I've noticed is that the thing that of the people that are former military or current military that recommend competition shooting, the thing they have in common is that they're always at like the higher levels of specialness. I don't know how that goes, but like Navy SEALs, Green Berets, Special Forces, Delta, that type of stuff. Whereas the people that will poo-poo it are the tactical Timmies that have never served, or are guys that there's a great tactical trainer in Colorado that if you look up his service record, he worked on vehicles. It was like, okay, cool. So shit on competition all you want, dude. Like you, they didn't even let you have a gun when you were in the military.
And then you got Mike Pannone, who's like, literally shot the last PCSL match. Like Mike Pannone is there, like thrown down, shooting. Probably like one of the most badass motherfuckers in the whole entire United States.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's one of the people that I was thinking of. I got the, pleasure of meeting him at the Shooter Symposium, not last year, but the year before. And was actually able to get some time with him, and even just observing his class, he was able to, he was singing the praises of competition shooting. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, it's like unprovoked. It's not like I went up and said, "Hey, I'm a competition shooter. Do you think that's good?" Just so
no, he preaches it. Like he really does believe in it. He shoots local. Like I've shot, or not shot in his squad, but he's been out at local USPSA pistol matches. Like he won limited 10 at one of them. Like he's freaking legit. Like, he's a really good shooter all around, and he does well, and he goes to these matches on his own account. Like he believes it's good. And I've seen stuff on his Instagram videos and that little techniques that he does that I've actually taken from his tactical world to competition. Like I seen him use his like a reverse kneel position, and he actually put the butt on his knee, like he's using his knee. So if you get in this like perfect height barricade, or if you get in like a barricade where you can use the side and you can choose your own, you can clamp onto it at any height you want. You can actually like get a even more stable position by using your stock on your knee, which never seen anybody do that in competition, but I saw Mike Pannone do it on an Instagram video.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
So I think, yeah, he's definitely a pretty innovative guy. It's cool that, like you said, the top really high level military guys are into competition.
Yeah. I like being right, and that really makes everything right in my head. It reinforces my preconceived notions.
Yeah, I've got that same problem. I got to be right a little bit too much myself.
Yep. It feeds confirmation bias. That's what I was looking for. It feeds my confirmation bias.
There you go.
Real quick, run down the list of matches that you're going to be at again. I heard you saying, but you said them so fast that I only caught 5 of them.
So I'm always going to go back to Superstition, right? Superstition 3-gun, usually my first like big match of the year if there's no hard as hell 2-gun, which I don't think there is. That's one I'm just going to keep coming back every year. It's driving distance from me, and it's always super high quality match, even though I got a stage DQ last time for my shotgun safety coming off. That was a pretty big bummer. And so shooting that one, shooting PCSL 2-gun, I'll probably shoot at least one of the 2-gun matches, and then I'm going to try to shoot either Max's 3-gun or rifle. I'm kind of leaning towards the rifle match because it's hit factor. I never mentioned that the PCSL 2-gun is hit factor scoring.
What do you think about that?
I think it's fantastic. The targets are smaller than like an IPSC. It's like an IPSC, the IPSC turtle targets, whatever you want to call them, with a head cut out on top.
Yeah.
So little shoulder cuts. I think that from a practical standpoint, according to dudes like Brian Nelson, who like actually train military and stuff, shooting people in the face is super effective. And there's a lot of stages with like, it's easy to make target presentations where you have to shoot them in the face, and they have a K zone where it's like counts as 2 alphas, which is interesting. And then you don't need to put up a bunch of no shoots everywhere. It's great. You can adjust the target difficulty by bringing the targets in close or moving them, 20 yards. You can have like a super difficult target array for rifle that can, you have to push. You got to kind of shoot doubles on it. You can't be like taking individual sight pictures, but you still need to have like a really precise point of aim at 20 yards. And that's with no shoots slapped all over. It's just open targets, different distances. I think it's cool that they shoot the brown side with pistols, they shoot the white side with rifles, and then if there's a no shoot, which is rare, it's painted red. And I think that it shakes out the better shooters. There's a little bit less luck involved. Like, you're not gonna get a random alpha and then pull off the target and then shoot a mic and still get no penalty for that. You're not going to get 2 super low deltas because you pulled both shots with your pistol. Like in recoil, you're yanking the trigger. Like, all that stuff kind of goes away, and it really shakes out who's the better shooter. And I like Scott beat me at the first 2-gun, and it was by it was like 0.01%. It was like the closest match I've ever seen in my life.
Jeez.
And both me and Scott both made like major mistakes. We were both like, dude, like, these targets are hard. We were like, there's no way I got a miss on that stage. He's like, I know, I shot 2 fucking mics on that stage. Like, how is this possible? So like, high level dudes like me and Scott, we both were like, wow, this is freaking hard.
That's Scott Green.
Interesting. Scott Green. Yeah. Sorry. Scott Green. Yeah. Scott won the first one, and then I got to win this second one because Scott didn't show up with his open pistol. So I managed to win it with my iron sight 2011.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. I think Scott is he's going to be really tough to beat in these 2-gun matches because he's a good USPSA shooter. He knows how to shoot alphas on targets. Like he's not a 3-gun only. I see Brown, I shoot.
Yep.
Like the guy knows how to shoot, get good hits. He shot Rifle World Shoot with me, did really well. And all on top of that, he has got a really nice full-blown open pistol, which the rule set allows in the competition division, allows you to have like a compensated frame-mounted dot. The 160 millimeter mags, the
170s.
170s, sorry, yeah. So you can have a full-blown open gun. So that's tough to hang with, for sure.
Yeah, I think the first match he was shooting iron sights, right? Because they didn't allow the full blown open pistols.
Yeah, he decided to give me like a chance. I still couldn't beat.
I'm gonna hobble myself just a little bit here. Good luck.
I like the rules for the first one was you could, and I thought it was accommodating to a lot of different types of people in different shooting sports. So you could have a limited gun, like what you would use in 3-gun, a 9mm 2011 with iron sights, 141 mags, or you could have a carry optics gun from USPSA. So you could shoot like a CZ Shadow 2 with a dot and 141, or like a Glock with a dot. And I thought that was like a pretty good. I mean, if you look at the statistics on practice score, the gun with a dot is still an advantage over like a 2011 with irons. It's still gonna the same shooter is gonna win with the dot. It's the recoil of the extra recoil of a quote unquote factory gun is not enough to offset the dot, but still I liked it because I think there's a lot of people that would get into it with coming from carry optics and coming from 3-gun limited and 3-gun tech ops division. But we'll see. We'll have to see the way it goes now. Maybe, who knows? Maybe the open guns will actually not work out because they'll be flopping around too much, and I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, it'll be interesting because I still have a feeling that there's a significant advantage from a full open gun like Scott shoots to the compared to the slide ride open guns that most people in 3-gun shoot.
Yeah, I would agree in theory, like when my brain is thinking about this stuff, but the reality is I have no experience with either, so
yeah,
I really don't know. Like, it's hard for me to say. I mean, what does AMAX say? I think doesn't AMAX kind of...
Well, AMAX says slide ride or die. And
yeah,
but
Josh shoots a slide ride to Josh Freilich, right?
Yeah, but the reason that everyone
single port comp,
the reason that everyone went to that was the holsters, because you couldn't shoot a full open gun and shoot one of the big open terrain 3-gun matches because your holster didn't provide any retention for that open gun. So gotcha. Scott has the he has a Limcat holster which has like a little switch on the back, and apparently that's a good solution. I haven't seen a lot of people use those for the open terrain gun or open terrain matches or anything, but in open terrain matches, in where there's a lot of running and a lot of ground to cover, you can definitely cover up a lot of mistakes and a lot of advantages from like that sort of thing. But if you're talking about like a bay match, or again, I've never been to Superstition, but the videos I've seen from the stages, it looks like that would be an advantage there because they're much more truncated movement, a lot of less time on the clock. Yes. So that's where I think they would shine.
Yeah, I agree. I think it would. And I will say I've seen a lot of people. I don't think I've seen a lot of people win a match because they had a race holster, but I've seen a lot of people DQ because they had a race holster.
Yeah.
A lot. Yeah. Interesting. But okay, so sorry, we got way off topic, but you're asking me about what matches.
Yeah, what your schedule looks like. Yep.
So after that PCSL is I want to shoot Texas 3-gun, which I've never shot, and I've the Magpul one. I think you've been pretty involved in.
Yeah, I've shot that one quite a few times. It's a great match.
Yeah, really want to do that for the first time. I want to shoot Vortex Tri-Gun, which I wanted to shoot a couple of years back, right when COVID kicked off, and then it got canceled that year. I think that was 2019 or 2020.
2020.
Yeah, 2020. So I want to shoot that, and then I'm going to shoot all the AK matches again and then EMG, the UML EMG. So that's the only UML match that I plan to shoot, and I'm hoping that it's in near Salt Lake City again at the farm. It's called, and Kerry Palmer ran it last year, and he does a great job. He's a really good match director and stage designer.
Good. All right. So one topic that we discussed last time very briefly that I want to revisit is you mentioned that you were going to explore playing first-person shooter video games to increase your what was it, your eye movement, eye speed?
Yeah, kind of my cognition.
There you go, cognition.
Like, ability to. So yes, I was kind of like, I always played first-person shooters, but just for fun. I never really like got into the competitive aspect of it or like used it as a tool. And then I kind of started, I was like noticing everybody who's like a high level shooter, almost everybody, they're all gamers. Scott Green, I don't know if he wants me to say this, he's a gamer.
Yeah.
Big time. Like he destroys. I've played Call of Duty with him a couple times, and I was like, man, I'm like, you really want to fight all these dudes? I'm like, I kind of was gonna hide in this building. It's like, fuck that. He's a gamer. Zach Smith, good friend of mine, Max Leograndis, Christian Saylor, seen him gaming. Like the list goes on. They all play first person shooters.
A lot of the Texas guys play first person shooter games, and they all play together too.
They do. I never had met Aaron Hayes. I didn't know who he was, and then I'd recently met him at Clash Bash. I was like, oh shit, we played Call of Duty together, man. It's like, oh, I remember that. I was playing with like him and Riley Croft, some of the Texas guys. So yeah, they're all gamers. Everybody does it, and I don't think a lot of people, they're not doing it intentionally to like get better at shooting, but it's just a reality that it improves your reaction time. It improves your visual, like your eyes' ability to lock on to objects and track them, and then obviously hand-eye coordination, even though it's a completely unrelated skill. And so, like, I was playing Call of Duty when I talked to you last time, and I thought that it was so fast-paced that it would be a good thing. And it is. Like, I think it does help you process quickly. But then I got into a game, which, if anybody knows what it is or looks it up, they're going to think I'm like a weeboo. It's called Valorant. It's like
what's a weeboo?
A weeboo is like people who are into, like, anime and shit.
Oh.
I'm not an anime guy. But because it's like super cartoony looking, but it's like Counter-Strike. If you know what Counter-Strike is, it's like a super hardcore tactical shooter. It's like a platform for huge tournaments in Germany. It's insane how many people. There will be like 1 million people watching these events or more in Counter-Strike, and Valorant's the same thing. It's essentially the same game. It's like 5v5 tactical shooter, super precise aim. You're going like you're not, people aren't tanky. It's like one headshot, they're dead with most guns. And it's all teamwork and clearing angles, like you're slicing the pie and holding angles properly and communicating with teammates. And I just found that the aim was really hard. It's really hard in that game to be good at aiming. So that led me down the road of getting this game called Aim Labs, which is something that now I think is like huge. Like I think it is a huge advantage that a lot of people could benefit from who shoot competitively. So Aim Labs is an aim trainer for first-person shooters like Valorant, Counter-Strike, and you literally shoot orbs. It's like orbs, and you do different exercises. So I'll do these exercises where it's like one called Grid Shot, which is the most popular one, where there's just 3 orbs, and you just click them as fast as you can. And each time you shoot one, a new one appears, and you can get rid of the gun model. So it's just a floating crosshair and orbs like floating in a room in a grid, and you just keep clicking as fast as you can. And to watch the progress, if you put some time in on it, it's like, man, you can double the amount of orbs you can shoot in 1 minute with like, a couple months of practice. And then there's tracking ones, right? So this is the one that I really noticed, like improving my shooting. These tracking ones, like there's one where there's a bunch of orbs moving at different left and right at the same speed, but you basically just lock onto them, follow it for a couple seconds, and then it disappears, and you lock onto the next one and follow that the other way, and you just keep locking onto them. And ones where there's one orb at a time, and it goes left and right and keeps switching directions, and you're shooting 3 shots on it and tracking it. So I started doing that, and I noticed I was horrible at it. I was horrible at tracking, and I got a lot better to where my scores are like decent in the game. So swinging targets, like swingers and matches, I like don't even worry about them anymore. It completely changed the way that I process when a swinger is presenting itself. I feel like it's not this blurry mess anymore. I feel like I am seeing my sights on the target, and I'm choosing to shoot at this moment, or I'm tracking it while it's moving for the ones that, you can't see at rest. And I'm like, I know that I'm shooting and I know where the bullet is going on the target. It's like a completely different feeling. And that's from just, a few months of using that program.
Interesting. Is now, well, if you sound like a weeboo, I sound like a boomer. So is this like a computer thing, or is it a console thing?
I'm a PC elitist, dude.
You're a PC elitist. Okay.
Get out of here with your fucking controllers.
I'm on a Mac. What do you think about that?
That's okay. As long as the mouse and keyboard, it's all good, man.
Okay. Huh. Okay. So
I'm sure it's fine. You can't really play like Aim Labs. It's a Steam download, free download on Steam. So anybody who has a PC and games knows what that is.
Right.
But yeah, I think the mouse is a lot more, it's better, period. There's no question about it.
Than a console?
A mouse, yeah, it's a point and click interface. Like there's a reason why computers don't use a joystick, right? Like it's actually reacting to your hand's movement, and you don't have to go back over center to change directions. Like if I want to be tracking to the right and then I want to track to the left, I don't have to like go past center with my joystick to the left. Like there's not a delay. So a mouse is period better than using a joystick, and I think it translates a little bit better for hand-eye coordination, but that's just me.
Yeah, that's so nerdy.
I know, super nerdy. I don't care.
I never thought about the going or the passing center thing, but I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, well, there's other reasons too, but it's like, do you want to scroll, or do you want to it's like shooting a gun. You're just pointing at that spot. You're just moving the sights to that spot. You're not like, a mouse is more like that than scroll with a joystick.
Well, it's funny that you mentioned the joystick period. Date myself here is I had to think about that one for a minute because it's been so long since I played video games. I forgot they had the little joystick thing because I was just thinking of like a up, down, left, right controller.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
The little buttons.
Oh, yeah. You're really dating yourself.
Oh, I know. I was like,
Boomer.
So are you playing these on Super Nintendo or do you have a Sega?
Dude, it's okay. I'm the old guy in these games. Believe me. I started playing it with like a coworker, good buddy of mine now, this kid, Sergio, and he's now like the highest rank in the game. He's amazing at it. And, I'm like stuck in the mid ranks. So it hurts my ego being good at shooting.
That's awesome. So
and now I know what things like bet means when the kids say bet. And I know and then what's the other one that they say all the time? I can't think of it right now. I'm being a real boomer, but yeah, I'm learning all the Zoomer terms, dude.
Oh man, that's I gotta say when I hung out with Riley when I lived in Texas, that was the best part. Is like I knew what all the best curse words were and all the cool sayings and stuff. Yeah, it was great.
I remember listening to a couple of those Riley podcasts. You're like, are you okay now, Riley? Can you chill for a second?
Dude, that guy's hilarious. He's awesome.
Oh, he is.
Yeah, but
that guy shot a lot of dubs this year. Shot a whole lot of dubs.
Yeah, shoot, maybe he's the one to blame for the shotgun shell
yeah, I think it
drought.
Is. Speaking of, yeah, you're right. It is.
All right. So your experiment with shooting video games or playing video games and using it as training for shooting actually worked.
I would say so. The only tangible one in my mind is the tracking. I can't actually say that I've noticed, better target transitions or anything, because I'm obviously dry firing and live firing and all that stuff. But the tracking, I really, really do think it made a difference.
Good to know. Good to know. All right, man. Final topic that we want to cover here. You've got a special project that you've been working on for a while, and you kind of hinted at it earlier. When you said your homemade comp that you threw on your Galil. What's that all about? What's going on over there?
So some of y'all might already follow our Instagram and stuff, but I started a company making parts with my good buddy Zach Smith and another friend of ours, Russell Curtis, who's our financial guy. But me and Zach are engineering parts based on our experience with not really being satisfied with anything that is on the market and wanting to improve things. And for me personally, it was after shooting the Rifle World Shoot in 2019 and seeing some of the gear that the Europeans had, the Finns, a lot of the guys from the Nordic countries, some of the Russians, they have some cool shit that's better than some of the stuff that we have here. And I thought, I studied it. I got my hands on stuff, what I could. I got my hands on, some of the best stuff that we have available in the States, and started designing some gun parts. So we're going to be making, I already came out with a 7.62 AK brake, which is tunable, and I think is the most effective AK, except for a 7.62 by 3.9 brake. And then pretty soon is going to be coming out with a adjustable, tunable 223 comp, a non-adjustable, more simplified, compact 223 comp, or muzzle brake, I should say, sorry. And then AR buffer systems, which are, it's kind of a captured system, but I don't know if you follow us on Instagram, it's Unrivaled _Technologies. You'll see our release, which should be in the next week or so. We're kind of just waiting for the final production parts to come back from anodizing right now. And hopefully we'll be working with a lot of other cool manufacturers, and you'll start seeing that stuff out there.
Well, that's exciting. I do follow you on Instagram. I saw when you posted that, and it's cool to see that. I guess I haven't been really paying attention, but you guys have been shooting these for a long time, so you've done like a whole ton of testing on the muzzle brakes that you're now selling. Yeah,
it's been over a year, probably closer to 2 years of testing the muzzle brakes and buffers.
Wow.
I kind of started engineer. It's funny, I'm not really an engineer, but I've always been into machining. I've been kind of a machinist from in high school. I took some classes and was pretty decent at it, and kind of have that brain. So Zach does as well. Zach's super mechanical guy and has a really good understanding of the stuff. So yeah, I think we also, we've seen major companies come out with products that break and have problems, and we don't want to be like that. We really want to shake our stuff out before selling to the public, and I think we're doing a pretty good job at that. And obviously we don't have millions of dollars of budget to buy a pallet of ammo, but what we can do is make a lot of prototypes, get them out to people, and get them out to some really good shooters that have some valuable feedback, and try to make the best products we can. So,
well, that's exciting, man.
Yeah, I'm pretty damn excited, man.
Yeah, that's really cool. So I was checking out the videos earlier. There's a great video on Instagram of Zach shooting an AR in slow motion, and it's crazy. Like, you can see the handguard wiggle, and you can see his his bicep move and stuff, but the gun stays like super flat, so looks like it's working.
Yeah, that's the one thing you can't show is dot movement, and it's something I was talking to Joe Farewell about this, and I was like, I saw he had a compensator for the practical division,
mm-hmm.
where you can't use a muzzle brake, and he had drilled holes in it to like tune it to like allow more gas to come out the right side and top, and he had tuned the size of the holes, and he agreed with me that we both agree that a tuning is more important than push back into your shoulder. Like, you can have the softest shooting muzzle brake in the world. If you can't tune it, it's bullshit, because it's still going to push up into the right no matter what. And it's funny, you can shoot even a brake that has quite a bit of pushback really well, as you saw, like Joe does. He's a beast with the freaking thing.
Mm-hmm.
So like, tuning is super important, but yeah, I would love for, I can't wait to see the look on, I don't know if you follow, there's like a local YouTuber guy. He's kind of big nowadays. He's called Reno May, and he talks a lot about California gun laws. And I met him at the range the other day and let him shoot that gun. And, he shot a lot of ARs, and he shoots mine with the buffer and the comp on it. He fires one shot and just looks at me with this shit-eating grin on his face. Like, what the fuck is this thing? Like, is this for real? And this is like, military 5.56 ammo. And I love seeing that response. It's really cool to see something that you engineered actually be effective and stand out from other stuff that people have used.
Yeah, it's way cool, man. That's got to be a great feeling to see people run your stuff in competition and doing well.
Yeah. And obviously Zach is real fast. He's real quick at pulling triggers, so it's always interesting watching him, like you said.
Yeah. So
just one interesting thing, a lot of the movement that you see, which is something I've thought about it's really hard to mitigate, is I heard this in Brian Enos's book. He mentioned it is like the rotational torque from the rifling.
Yeah.
So I think that's something that, like, yeah, you could make some crazy baffles that are like angled like a propeller to like offset rotational torque. But I think no matter what you do and how little pushback that you make a compensator have, you're going to see the magazine like want to go twist to the right or left a little bit when you fire.
Yeah.
Just an interesting thought.
It is kind of interesting. The magazine in slow-mo does end up looking like a cowbell around a cow's neck. It's just kind of like jiggling in there.
Yes.
It is kind of funny. Have you ever seen completely off topic, but have you ever seen a Glock being shot in slow-mo?
Probably not slow enough to really tell what's going on. Like iPhone slow-mo, not like legit.
Yeah. Well, years ago I saw a video, and I want to say that it was Jessie Harrison when she worked for, or when she was shooting for Glock, but maybe it was something else. I don't know, but it was an actual slow-mo camera, not an iPhone, and like the whole frame twists, like it just goes like jelly, and then comes back and just
kidding.
Yeah, it's really weird. It looks like a pool noodle.
That it's actually noticeable on that small of a frame with a handgun.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because like an AK, I'm sure you've seen AK in slow-mo. It's a noodle, but like it's a pretty long receiver.
Yeah.
It's wild that a Glock is like that too.
I know. It's kind of a trip, and then it comes back to its normal shape after it goes into battery. It's like, how is the accuracy on those things?
Yeah, seriously. Pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
Yeah, not bad for what it is. Well, so Unrivaled_Technologies on Instagram. And then if you want to go check it out in their store, it's unrivaledproshop.com.
Oh, thanks, man.
Yeah, exciting stuff coming out of your area. So good for you guys for pushing the envelope and doing new things, and can't wait to see what the buffer system looks like when that comes out.
I can't wait, man. I hope you like it.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll be working on some stuff in the future. We'll see. Yeah,
we should be good. Well, Kyle, I've taken up almost your entire evening here, so let's wrap her up here on the topic of goal setting. Let's finish off with one thought or one piece of advice the audience can take with them.
Figure out your own process. If you want to get better at shooting, find some things that you could do every day, and that if you do them, you're going to improve. You're going to improve on those things, and then stick to it, make it a lifestyle. And also, last thought is a 99.9% survival rate. Quit being a pussy.
I like that, especially from a guy who lives in California.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I'll probably see more of that here. So.
Yeah, in Wyoming, we're just business as usual, man.
Yeah, I figured, man. It's not like that here. Terror.
Yeah.
Pure terror.
I bet. Well, I got a guest room if you ever need to get away.
Thank you, Dave. I appreciate that.
And I guess my final thought here is going to be that write them down. So write your goals down, because if you don't write them down, they don't exist. And as we discussed earlier, you got to revisit them every now and then.
True. Very well said.
Well, Kyle, man, it's been great. Let's not wait another year to do this. I appreciate you, and I appreciate the experience you have. It's great to talk to you. Thank you so much for sharing all the cool stuff you have going on with the Three Gun Show audience.
Hey, thank you so much for having me on, dude. And I'd love to do it again. Try to schedule one not so far off. And yeah, thanks so much, Dave. Had a good time.
Right on, man. Well, thanks for being here. And everybody listening, thank you for listening. We appreciate you. Write down your goals. And if you see this post somewhere, whether it's on the threegunshow.com or on Instagram, Facebook, share your goals, and we'll help you. We'll keep you accountable. Thanks, everybody, for listening. We'll see you on the range.